YouTube, Coppersan here. Back in 2020 I made a video called my top 5 favorite classes. Back then I had only trained 30 classes to level 200 and things have changed significantly since then and I finally found my groove in MapleStory. Back then my favorite classes were the Ice Lighting Mage at rank 5, then the Demon Slayer, then Thunderbreaker, then Battle Mage, and at number 1 there was Adele, which at that point was one of my highest level characters. My Demon Slayer wasn't even level 200 back then. Right now I have trained close to 100 characters to level 200 and plenty of those above that level as well. So let's take another look at my top 5 favorite classes and see if anything has changed since then, since the game has changed a lot and I've changed a lot as well. But before we kick things off, a word from today's sponsor, NordPass. NordPass is a tool that was designed by the same people that made NordVPN, and NordPass is designed to manage your passwords. If at any point you're interested in checking out NordPass, there is a link in the video description and in the top comment. And you can use the discount code Coppersan to get 1 additional month of NordPass for free if you want to purchase that. Sounds like an offer you cannot pass up on. Okay, moving on. With NordPass you can store, manage and view your passwords, or for example create notes to share with your friends when they're asking for the Wi-Fi again so they can continue grinding in MapleStory Mobile. NordPass also has a data breach scanner, which can be very useful when there are some unfortunate data breaches. For example, like the recent Neopets data breach. With NordPass it is easy to get alerted and manage your passwords in case of such an event. And that's just one of the many features that they offer. You can also, for example, set up an emergency contact in case someone needs to access your info while you're not there. If you think that NordPass is something for you, then make sure to check them out through the link in the video description and the top comment, and don't forget to use the code Coppersan to get 1 additional month for free. And now back to the video. Number 5 this time around is actually exactly the same as last time, but for different reasons. I've always loved grinding in MapleStory and was never a big fan of classes that require a lot of attention when grinding. So the Ice Lighting Mage has always been a perfect fit for my playstyle, with easy to use full map clearing spells, and the recently buffed Chain Lightning skill, which is also their main mobbing attack, just makes things so much easier. That skill bounces pretty far now. Somewhere last year I also finally decided that I wanted to invest more time in MapleStory and actually started bossing, slowly working my way up to CRA, Lotus, Damien and even Lucid and Will. The Ice Lighting Mages have also proven to be quite chill bossers, especially against mobile bosses which can be slowed by your ice spells. And with the Destiny update, making the teleport work a lot better when you're close to walls, you can dodge just anything a boss throws at you nowadays. It is very easy to slow down bosses and just attack them from a distance. Plus, being one of the few explorers with both an invincibility frame and a boss bind, it's a great class to get started out on. It's a great class that excels at mobbing and can do some mean damage to boss monsters as well, with a little bit of cheese in there with their slows. At number 4 we also still have the Demon Slayer, but again for different reasons. I think by now I have a slight Demon Slayer addiction problem. I have 3 higher level Demon Slayers, 3 above level 200, which for me is still pretty high level. A level 241 Demon Slayer in Luna, a level 217 Demon Slayer in Bera, and a level 214 Demon Slayer in E Reboot, which I'm currently using as a bossing mule. This class just can't do anything wrong for me. Great AoE mobbing, very high base stats, which makes this one of the better classes to get started out on in my opinion. There's been some quality of life for this class as well, and more is still coming. For example, their hyper skill that doubles their lines is now a toggle instead of a buff, which makes things just so much easier. Demon Slayers just are the complete package. They can dash, glide, teleport, double jump, which are all amazing to use when you're both grinding and bossing, so much mobility. They deal a ton of lines of damage, which is always very satisfying to look at. I guess I just have a thing for seeing a lot of damage lines in the screen. I guess that's why I play MapleStory. Their mobbing is pretty insane, especially with their 5th job skills, and their bossing is pretty easy and straightforward, and they're very safe as well, with 3 separate invincibility frame skills and their own boss bind. Their boost nodes are pretty easy to upgrade, and they get a free weapon as they get stronger all the way up to level 100. Just again a great starting out class. Their great survivability and high base damage makes it easy to start taking on bosses, and the damage is nothing to take lightly either. And after unlocking your hyper skill that doubles your lines at level 140, this class will be quite satisfying to look at and to play, at least for me. By the way, what are your favorite classes? Let me know in the comments. Next up is a class that I only got into earlier this year, but I absolutely adore this one, the Knight of Cygnus Wind Archer. Even though this class isn't exactly on top of the damage charts, it's just so nice to look at. For me, visuals are also pretty important when it comes to picking a class that I like, and this class just looks pretty dope in my opinion. I just love all the additional arrows flying out, seeking out their targets. But this class isn't just all sparkles, it's also one of the most fun and most relaxing bossing wheels that I made in a while. Wind Archers have a crystal they can place down. This one attracts boss monsters, which allows this class to just kind of free fire. And even if the boss monsters deal AoE damage, you can just activate your shield. It won't stop true one-shots, but it will block out most of the boss attacks, making it a very easy and safe class to boss with. Their mobbing isn't all that great, but their 5th job skills do help a lot, one of which is a massive orb that sucks in monsters, which is really fun to look at, and their tornadoes do help during grinding as well. I'm actually not sure how I will like this class after the remaster later this year, because I don't really like what they did with the skill visuals. The previous top 5 are really based on just grinding, and this list, as you can tell, is a lot more about bossing as well. So of course we cannot miss the best class, which was absent last time around, the Explorer Paladin, which is now at spot 2. Easy grinding? Check. Supportive skills? Check. Burst damage? Check. Doesn't die? Check. And the list just goes on and on. This class checks all the boxes for me. It used to be relatively weak, but now this character that I'm playing right now can already solo Lotus. After the Destiny update, just so much more damage got added to this class and lots of sparkles as well. I do think some of the animations are a bit too bright after Destiny, but your bossing skill Blast does look pretty epic right now. And of course, everything is just so more useful. This class is also great to duo or party with when it comes to bossing. The Paladin can provide invincibility frames, debuffs and revives, which just increases its usefulness when bossing, even in higher level bossing parties. I really developed my bossing style these years, and you can really tell which classes I've been bossing with, because usually I'm either face tanking or just ignoring boss mechanics, which are my 2 favorite things to do I think in MapleStory. And this class does exactly that. The less intense my boss fight is, the more energy I'll have left to keep on grinding. And like I mentioned earlier, nothing wrong with their grinding either, it's pretty good. But there is one class that's just perfect for my playstyle. The shoe that fits my foot, the glove that fits my hand, and that's our boy Shade. When I started this class last year, I was still sorta struggling. Low base damage, kinda weird mobility with a backdash, and their mobbing didn't feel all that great. But for some reason, something in me just kept pushing, and it led me to where I am today. This is my only character that I pushed to level 250, and I recently hit 30k base stats on it. I think the biggest thing that I like about Shade is just how easy it is to play. I just jump and punch monsters, and that's mostly it. I can just keep playing for hours and my hands will never get tired. Another thing that I really like about this class nowadays is its mobility. I really had to get used to backdash when I first started, but now I actually miss it on any other character that's not a Shade. Shade's dash is one of the easiest and most satisfying dashes to use in the entire game, in my opinion of course. You can even use it to dodge some boss attacks. And the teleport is also pretty great once you get used to it. Shade has a ton of debuffs, passive healing, a passive revive, their own bind, decent burst, and summons that you can just place down and they'll go to work. Shade's skills are also very colorful and quite unique, which is a nice contrast to some of the darker skills like Demon Slayer and Arc, or some of the super bright skills like for example Raar and Paladin. And also a thing that I really like about Shade is that you can reset your cooldowns of most of your debuffs and your binds. So in case you miss one of your skills, no biggie, just reset your cooldowns and go for it again. Even the Angelic Buster Link skill is affected, which is super useful in boss fights. Shade's bossing is a little bit more work because you just have to remember to use your debuff, but after that you're just using your one bossing attack to whittle away at the boss monster's HP. This class is just so chill to grind with and very fun to boss with thanks to their tight mobility, built-in safety and just easiness of playing. They might not deal the most damage early on, but I really enjoyed my time on this class, and that's the most important thing anyway, that you're maining a class you enjoy playing no matter how many hours you sink into it. And those are my top 5 favorite classes. Again, feel free to let me know your 5 favorite classes in the comments. And that was all for today. As always, many thanks to our members for making these videos possible. Thanks to Niels de Coninck, Raar maar waar, Sebastian, Hanoy, Ryalias, Vareese, Historycanon, Historycanon, BackSpaceOTI, Saffronyx, Anwar, NHI, Lee Deer, Flidiot, Knifesu, Chen125, Cloudfix, Gusus Rodriguez, Froggy, Vira, Trevor, Michael Manchaka, Ratius, Justin Vale, Silvio Nato, Stevie Zhang, Afterlord_MS, ceemak, Striker Elk, Tidal1 Pun, Victor Sundstrom, Radical Jaws, Riser RU, Gummy Bullet, Lovebird, 32655, Mathias Simonsson, Mr. Anarch, Lando Balavia, PC Game Life, Dante Victory, The Passenger, Martin Panzik, I'm Disappointed, Lucky Beats, Gabriel Eck, Pedro Benedetti, Conrad Crystallis, Ace Light, Ben Wolf, Max Bernhardt, Doc on a Talkabox, Muka1017, BNB King, Scotty Flies Fast, Priscilla, Brandon Cam, Shake1, Vake Botnet, Fecco, Gianfranco Calderon Canavero, and Necrodart. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy mapling!